In this session, we are practicing to connect three different LANs as given in the diagram, as given in the topology by using static routing. In the diagram, we can see that we have connected three different LANs and the IP addresses are given here 192.168.10.0/24 for the LAN 1, 192.168.20.0 for /24 for LAN 2 and 192.168.30.0/24 for the LAN 3. In the WAN side, we have assigned the IP address, we have used the IP address range as for connecting the R1 and R2, we have used 10.0.0.0/30 range, and in between R2 and R3, we have used the 10.0.0.0/30 range IP address. Now our aim is to achieve the communication, the interconnectivity in between the different devices in the different LAN shown here by using static routing. So by using static routing, if you are considering the R1, the router R1, without any configuration of the routing, it will automatically learn the directly connected networks. That is, R1 will automatically understand 192.168.10.0 network and also 10.0.0/30 networks. So we have to configure in R1 about the remote networks. That is 192.168.20.0, 192.168.30.0, and this WAN interface range also we have to tell manually in R1 in static configuration. The same way we have to do the same in same way we have to do the same things in R2 and R3. That means in R2 we have to configure about the remote networks such as this range, the LAN 1 range and LAN 3 range we have to tell manually in R2, and in R3 we have to configure static configuration about LAN network, LAN 1 and LAN 2, and this interface range also. Start to configure one by one. First of all, I am doing the IP address configuration in each PCs of in the different LANs. In PC1, we are giving the IP address 192.168.10.1 and /24 mask, and I will give the default gateway which is a LAN interface IP of the corresponding router R1, which is 192.168.10.1. In the same way, we are configuring PC2 and PC3. In PC2, our IP is 192.168.20.2 subnet mask /24 and default gateway, which is a LAN interface IP of the router R2, 192.168.20.1. In PC3, that is a PC in LAN 3, we are giving the IP address of 192.168.30.2 of mask /24 and default gateway, LAN interface IP of the router R3, 30.1. Now we have to assign the IP addresses in the routers. In R1, I am giving the IP address first to the LAN interface. The LAN interface connected here is gig 0/0. In gig 0/0, I am giving the IP address of 192.168.10.1. This is the gateway address for all the devices inside this LAN. Entering into the privilege execution mode. From privilege execution mode, entering into the global configuration mode, and then into the corresponding interface, which is a gig 0/0. Gig 0/0 and IP address 192.168.10.1 subnet mask. I am giving the default subnet mask here and entering the no shutdown. Okay, in the same way we are giving the IP address for the serial interface also. The serial interface, which is the interface connected to R2, here is S000. So we will give the IP address for that interface also now. Interface serial 000 IP address. We are using here the 10.0.0/30, which means we will use two IPs for this range, 10.0.0.1 and subnet mask is 252. No shutdown. So done. The IP address configuration is done now in the R1. We can check the IP address assigned. Do show IP interface brief. Yes, we have the IP addresses assigned here, and in the same way we will configure the IP address in R2 router also. First we will configure in the LAN interface IP. In the LAN interface it is a gig 0/0. In gig 0/0 enable config terminal interface gig 0/0. IP address range is 192.168.20. So 192.168.20.1, 255, 255, 255.0. Now shut down. And now in the WAN interface which is connected to the router R1, we have to enter into the corresponding interface, which is serial 000. IP address assigned is here 10.0.0.2 and subnet mask is 255, 255, 252. Now shut down. And now we have to assign the IP address for the interface which is connected to the R3, which is the interface is serial 001, interface serial 001, and the IP address here is we have given the range of 10.0.0.4/30. So the usable IPs will be 10.0.0.5 and 6. 10.0.0.5 of subnet mask /30. Okay, now the required IP addresses are assigned in R2. Same way we have to configure the IP addresses required in R3 also. In R3, I will configure first into the LAN interface, which is a gateway for the devices in LAN 3. Enable configuration terminal into the global configuration, and the interface here is the LAN interface gig 0/0, interface gig 0/0, IP address 192.168.30.1/24. Okay, and in the WAN interface, which is the interface serial 000, and the IP address is 10.0.0.6, 255, 255, 255.0. Done. Now we have assigned the IP addresses required in all our devices. Let me check in this device. Do show IP interface brief. Our gig 0/0 is in down state, so I will enter into the interface gig 0/0. Now shut down. Do show IP interface brief. Now the status is up and up. In R2, we will check the status of the interfaces. Do show IP interface brief. Our required three interfaces are up and up. On R1, in R1, do show IP interface brief. The required interface status are up now. So now all the configurations are configurations for assigning IP address is done. Now we have to start the static route configuration, static routing. So in R1, in static routing, we have to tell about this LAN 1, this network, 10.0.0.4 network and 192.168. 30 dot network. Okay, we will start now for that one. In R1, we can check the routing table before configuring show IP route. So without any configuration, without any routing configuration, initially it has the updates in its routing table, which is only about the directly connected networks. That means it is now the information about this LAN 1 and the first WAN interface 10.0.0 and 192.168.10.0 networks. Now we have to configure statically one by one all about the remote networks. So I will configure now. The command is IP route 192.168.20.0 255 0 destination prefix, which is 255 0, and the next hop address, which is 10.0.0.2, which is the IP address of this interface 10.0.0.2. Done. Now we have to tell about the network of 192.168.30.0 IP route 192.168.30.0/24 network, and our next hop address will be, that is same for all because there is only one entry exit path into router R1. So here also the exit path is, the next hop address is 10.0.0.2, and one more network is remaining there to tell in R1 statically, that is about this WAN network IP route 10.0.0.4, and the subnet mask is /30 255 and the next hop address is same 10.0.0.2. Done. Now we have configured all the remote destination networks in R1 statically. So entries for all the remote and directly connected networks should be now present in its routing table. We can check with show IP route command. So we can see that we have 10.0.0.30 which is directly connected, and 10.0.0.4/30 which is statically configured. Now the two WAN interface WAN networks are present here. Now check about the three LANs 192.168.10.0/24, it is directly connected, and 192.168.20.0/24 statically configured, and 192.168.30.0 which is also statically configured. Now we have the information about all the networks in the routing table of R1. So the configuration in R1 is finished. Now we have to do the same things in R2 and R3 as well. Now in R2, we can check first the routing table. In default, by default, it will have the directly connected networks. and 10.0.0 and 10.0.0.4. So we have to tell in this router about 192.168.10.0/24 and 192.168.30.0/24. IP route 192.168.10.0/24 network, and the next hop address for this network is 10.0.0.0.2, which is the IP address of this interface. 10.0.0, I think it is 10.0.0.1. Yeah, 10.0.0.1. Yes. Now we have to tell about this LAN 3 IP route 192.168.30.0 network, and the subnet mask is /24, and the next hop address is the interface IP of this this router interface, which is 10.0.0.0.6. Done. Now we can check the routing table again to show IP route, and it should have all the IP, all the networks in this topology. 10.0.0/30, 10.0.0/4/30, and statically we have configured 192.168.10.0/24. 192.168.20 network is directly connected, and 192.168.30.0/24 is statically configured. Now the configurations in R2 also finished. Now in R3, by default it will have the information about the directly connected LAN 1 and the directly connected WAN interface network in its routing table. So we have to tell about all the remaining networks here. IP route. The LAN 1 address is 192.168.10.0/24, and the next hop address for this network is interface IP of this router, this interface, which will be 10.0.0.5. And now we have to tell about this network IP route 10.0.0.0/30, 255, 255, 255, 252, and the next hop address for this network will be the same as before, as of there is only one entry exit point into this router. .0.0.0.5, I think. Yes. Now we have to tell about this LAN 2 route 192.168.20.0, 255, 255, 255.0, and the next hop address 10.0.0.5. You can check the routing table now. There is 10.0.0.24 is there, 10.0.0/30, 10.0.0, okay, we can check here one by one. 10.0.0 directly connected, statically configured 10.0.0.30, the remote WAN network, and 10.192.168.10 network LAN 1, LAN 2, directly connected one. So now we can see that in every routers, all the routers, there is entry about all the present networks. So now we can check from one by one. Let us check the connectivity from this router first into the remote network, remote routers. I will ping from here. Ping. We can check this interface first. 10.0.0. This is 5 and this is 6. 6. Yeah, we can. Yeah, we are getting the replay now. We can check from PC1 to the remote PCs. ping into the WAN interface of the R1, which is 10.0.0.1. We are getting the reply. Now we can ping into the R2, any one of the R2 interface. Let me check into the WAN connection of the R2 into the R3 side, which is 10.0.0.5. Yes, we are also getting the reply. And we can check into the R3 LAN interface, which is 192.168.30.1. Yeah, we are getting the reply from there also. And we can check now into the PC in the LAN 3 side, which is the PC3 here, 192.168.30.1, sorry, 30.2. Yes, we are getting the replay from PC3. Now we have achieved the communication in between all the devices present here in this topology by using the configuration method of static routing we have done by statically in each and every router about all the remote networks, and we have manually configured, we have manually entered statically in all the routers in order to achieve the communication between all the devices.